Now of what else is happening. Charlotte with those details.
Thanks very much, Eamon. More on Pakistan, and as the government deals with the floods at home, Pakistan's president will arrive in Britain later today. There's been widespread anger in Pakistan over comments made by David Cameron last week over the country's commitment to tackling terrorism. Ahead of the visit, Pakistan's High Commissioner to Britain has told Sky News the Prime Minister's comments were baseless. Mark Stone has this report.
We cannot tolerate.
Phenomenal.
Indeed. Wonder what was playing on the radio at that particular time. Please do give us your suggestions. My favourite would be Johnny Cash.
Ring of Fire.
Ring of Fire.
How would I guess that one?
And those flames, they got higher. But there we go. Thank you very much indeed, Charlotte. Morning newspapers. Let's have a look at those. Daily Telegraph, first of all.
Box Office HD.
Hello, thanks for watching Sky News Sunrise on a Tuesday. This is Darren Lewis. He's got the newspapers and his views on those. Coming up after Charlotte with a rundown of what else is happening. And leading the news this morning, the death toll from the floods. We're asking today. Spectrum Radio in Mallorca, they suggest Billy Joel, we didn't start the fire.
Can I get away with Great Balls of Fire this time in the
Great Balls of Fire, it nearly came to that, actually, Darren. Ewan 10 there. Keep those suggestions coming in at Sky Charlotte, at Eamon Holmes. Darren Lewis, he is the man on the papers today from the Daily Mirror. Normally sport is his brief, but he's turning his eyes and his ears to everything else today. Absolutely. And first up, Darren, it's The Guardian, and it's the end of combat operations in Iraq.
It is indeed. Not too much attention being paid to this in the papers this morning. Chris McGurl's in Washington. He's written this piece basically talking about the logistics of the withdrawal from Iraq. President Obama promised last year a very high-profile address that he would bring to an end the war in Iraq as far as the Americas are concerned. Now everyone's holding their breath because listen, lots of fears after the bloodiest month of losses on record last month that they could be, their withdrawal, if you like, could lead to other elements taking advantage in Iraq. But Obama saying yesterday that the US would maintain a transitional force of about 50,000 troops until the military withdrawal is completed at the end of the year. And he says that the military effort's changing from a combat mission to a diplomatic mission. So we shall see what happens there.
This is a story in the Mirror about Sarah's law, based on the Canadian Meghan's law.
Yes, basically 4 successful pilot schemes launched in England which enable parents to ask or check the history of suspected paedophiles with police. Lots of fears within this Home Affairs Select Committee that it might encourage vigilantism. Now, my view on this is that parents should have the right to check on people that they suspect could be a danger to their children, full stop. I can see the opposite point of view, which is that you've had a high-profile case like Baby P, where people were posting on Facebook and the other social networking sites the names of people involved in this in an attempt to out them ahead of time, and they jeopardise trials, they jeopardise all sorts of legal issues. They get in touch with radio stations and they try to leak information, and that obviously is a danger. But intrinsically, I do believe that parents should have the right to be able to know if there are suspected paedophiles living in their midst. And I think that they shouldn't... Listen, 9 times out of 10, when they use the word review, it's almost as a means to soften up the blow because they're going to pull this thing. And I think we should give our full support to Sarah's law.
Raoul Moat's funeral was yesterday, and it appears amongst the mourners of family and friends there were what are termed fans.
Yeah, and this is a deeply disturbing story because this guy who, listen, other people came to lose their lives at his hand, has quote-unquote fans. Very, very disturbing indeed. These so-called fans, supporters, went to his funeral yesterday. They didn't know him, but they met, and we're not talking about sort of guys all dressed in black with their eyebrows and you know, a black eyeliner or, you know, weird ghoulish figures. We're talking about mothers bringing their children hundreds of miles to the funeral of this guy and using all sorts of terms which were just inappropriate in relation to a guy, as I say, who caused other people to lose their lives. And for me, I think a lot of people have to have a look at themselves over their conduct as far as this is concerned. There is free speech, but also with freedom comes responsibility. And I think a lot of people being irresponsible as far as this is concerned.
Now listen, if you're watching us today in the northwest of England, you will very well know the broadcasting legend that is Stuart Hall, and indeed he's still a football reporter for
Radio 5 Live, yes.
Yeah, and Stuart Hall is attacking the BBC because he's basically saying they're obsessed with regional accents.
Now, I've got a vested interest in this story because a few years ago, I applied to the BBC to become a continuity announcer, and I was rejected because...
Will it be radio, I presume?
It would have been radio. I'm very much a face for radio, yes. And I was rejected because they said that my voice wasn't regional enough.
Yes. Can you do any regional accents?
I'm afraid not. No, my family are from the Caribbean. I do live in Hackney in East London. But this is all I can do.
Not regional enough.
Not really, no.
No.
I think I need to either
Is that a form of discrimination, do you think? Or is it a representation that everybody pays their licence fee, therefore you should have Scottish and Irish and Welsh?
Well, that seems to be the idea behind the head of television, Yana Bennett, the BBC's head of television, who says that she wants to, let's have a look, more broadly reflect different areas, and she's promised an increase in distinctive voices which have authentic senses of place. I'm not sure what that actually means.
Well, that's you out the window, Charlotte. You needn't apply there.
I think you need to represent everybody, and so that includes representing the people that, you know, don't necessarily have a strong accent.
Indeed, and often people, and I speak from a country where we have accents, obviously, in Northern Ireland, and people want to aspire to
the people that they see on television.
Yes, to nice-speaking voices and whatever, and a lot of people regionally don't see it that way.
My idol when I was growing up was a guy called Trevor McDonald, who used to read the news. He was a black reporter, very well spoken, bespectacled, still a legend, a broadcasting legend at the moment. And I aspired to him, so you're absolutely right. And Stuart Hall mentions the likes of Charlotte Green for news, Alan Green for sport, both who have Northern Irish accent. Alan Green, a legend in sports broadcasting from Northern Ireland. So there is a context for it.
Yes.
But as they say, as he's saying, you know, he has a problem.
Final point.
Edict.
Let us know your thoughts on that. Daily Mail, Emma Thompson, the actress, she says, she's in front of the Daily Mail today, she says, it just can't be done. Women cannot have it all. Charlotte, do you think they can?
Well, I think you like to think that you can, but you do suspect that, you know, what she's saying is you've got to compromise somewhere.
She's so right. I just think the pressure put on women from magazines and lifestyle shows and whatever, I don't think you can have it all.
I don't think you can. She doesn't think you can. The pressure to look good, to have a successful job, and to become a successful mother as well. She says that it can't work. She's given an interview to a magazine to promote a new film that she's starting with the actress Maggie Gyllenhaal. I think both our wives would say that you can have it all. Look at us.
Yeah, they're the unique, lucky ones. But Charlotte, when you have 3 kids round your ankles, let's see if you think you can have it all.
I think the truth is you have to cheat. That's the answer, don't you?
OK. Thank you, Darren. Darren Lewis, top man. Sky News Sunrise, the website. Please. Right, going to go all snowy there. What's it going to be like here weather-wise, Lucy?
Far from snowy, but not feeling much like summer this week. Plenty of cloud around. It will stay dry for some of us, so it's not all bad, and despite the clouds staying relatively warm in the south.
Well, it might be a nice day for some. Andrew McClellan from South Africa. Happy birthday, Lucy. You're the most incredible weather girl ever. Marry me in South Africa.
Oh, that's nice.
There you are. Well, can you top that, Charlotte?
No, I can't, I'm afraid. No, we did have some suggestions, though, for music. Those rescuers in Russia that had to drive through the wall of fire in order to escape. And you were saying...
what was on the radio?
What was on the radio? Well, DJ Miss Frenchy says, what about the Prodigy Firestarter? Bick Ryder says, Burning Bridges or The Quo or We Didn't Start the Fire by Billy Joel. Lots of suggestions coming in on that, actually.
Coming in. We'll take a break there. We're back top of the hour. All the top stories, including the visit to Britain of the Pakistani president. Thank you very much indeed. That's the spokesperson for Oxfam there, and we'll be keeping you updated. And there's much more detail on the whole Pakistan flood situation on the website skynews.com. The other news, Charlotte, with that.
Thanks, Eamon. And as the Pakistani government is dealing with those floods, the president will arrive in Britain later today. And there's been widespread anger in Pakistan over comments made by David Cameron last week over the country's commitment to tackling terrorism. Ahead of the visit, Pakistan's High Commissioner to Britain has told Sky News the Prime Minister's comments were baseless. Mark Stone has this report.
We cannot tolerate.
Peace Mail's got in touch to say, relight my fire by the doors. Stuart says, walk through the fire, Peter Gabriel, or put out the fire, Queen. Moggy says, we want to get out of this place by the animals. I bet that was what they were thinking. Andy says, the heat is on. Rescue Me by Fontella Bass. That's a suggestion by Rebecca McGrath. Do you want some more? Ring of Fire, the heat is on. Disco Inferno.
We get the idea.
We get the idea. It's a very good suggestion.
The Great Escape might have been an appropriate tune as well. Thank you, Charlotte, and thank you, everybody, for your suggestion. From Charlotte.
Thanks, Eamon. Yes, as they're dealing with those floods at home, Pakistan's president arrives in Britain later today. There has been widespread anger in Pakistan over those comments made by David Cameron last week.
Such big creatures, but there we go. Everybody say ah. At ITV, they're saying ah. They're back in the black again.